Hello and welcome back to Rain Check. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is where Theodore here is basically touring the hotel to pass the time before the convention starts. He was frantically looking for his wallet because, well, he lost it. Somebody bumped him as he was getting into the elevator, and he dropped all his stuff, and that included the wallet, which apparently flew away farther from where he was. And luckily, this wolf dude named Rao saw it, went to pick it up, stopped the person who was gonna steal it, and, returned it to him. So yeah, obviously we're gonna see more of him in this video. So yeah, if you like him, then he'll show up again. Anyways, so yeah, let's continue Rain Check. There are hundreds of flowers and plants all clustered in planters. The garden itself seems to be the same size, if not a bit smaller than the main lobby. I guess they weren't exaggerating when they said that it's the flower meadows of the nation. There's more people here than I anticipated, but I suppose that's to be expected. I step deeper in and feel the atmosphere around me change. It's definitely warmer and damper than the main hotel area. Feels more like a rainforest. I can still see the rain through the large glass dome above my head, probably 2 or 3 floors high. The walls are also made of glass. It's easy to see the exterior section of the garden outside through it. Looking back inside, I can see a maze pattern with walls probably no higher than my knees. The walls themselves have flowers growing on top. In the center of the maze is a tree unknown to me that is surrounded by patches of unrecognizable flowers. Naturally, I start taking photos. I navigate the maze and exit to the other side of the room. There, I spot a different set of glass doors appearing, leading to the outside section of the garden. Definitely more trees than flowers out there. I contemplate going outside. Maybe another time. This rain isn't letting up. I decide to trek through the maze again, this time making my way to the center. As I reach the center, I walk into a family admiring some flowers along the way. There's barely enough room for me to walk past them, but I somehow manage to make my way over. There's a really sweet and welcoming scent around the flowers they are examining. I can recognize those flowers from anywhere. They're orchids. Dendroidium orchids. Just looking at the flowers like this makes me feel nostalgic. My parents always liked orchids, especially my father. They always had a thing for gardening, even owning and running a garden center together off the edge of the suburbs where we lived. My father would always bring the flowers that didn't sell for the week back home instead of throwing them out. Especially the orchids. We would personally plant those in a pot and put them in the living room. At one point, I remember the whole living room being covered in orchids, but Mom and I didn't mind. Unfortunately, that stopped when he passed away, and that's when everything started falling apart. Yeah, and I guess that's when Mom lost interest in gardening, but still had to run the garden center without him. I ended up helping her out whenever I could after school. I picked up quite a lot of knowledge about gardening and flora in general thanks to her and Dad, though still not really enough to write home about. It seems like she has no interest in talking about anything from the past. All she really seems to talk about these days are things related to me. I shrug it off, trying my best to think of something else. I really shouldn't ruminate over this now. I should be focusing on enjoying myself. That was the whole point of coming here. Or at least part of it. Hi, excuse me? I turn around to find a meek-looking reindeer standing next to me, gazing over some flowers in front of us. He's a lot shorter than me, with most of his height coming from his antlers. He stops and turns around to look at me. Do you know what kind of flowers these are? The ones in the back there? He points to the patch of orchids that I had spotted a bit earlier. Oh, those? Those are orchids. Orchids, huh? Cool. He pulls out a phone from his pocket and snaps some photos of the orchids. Oh, what about these? There's a patch of brightly colored flowers off in the distance that the reindeer's pointing at. Those? I think those are dahlias? Neat. The reindeer's back to aggressively taking photos. I admire his enthusiasm. Hey, how do you know so much about these flowers anyway? Are you some kind of gardener? I guess you could say that. I don't really know that much though. Nah, no way. You definitely know way more than the people that I tried asking earlier. Feeling like the conversation had ended, I give him a nod and decide to walk over to another part of the garden. Hey, Mr. Gardener, I need your assistance. It's an emergency. Huh? Please, please, please. I want to be in a shot next to all these tall flowers. He points over to a patch of what I can only guess to be delphiniums. Here. He walks over and hands me his phone with the camera already switched on. Okay, sure. The ranger strikes one of those cool model-like poses and grins at me. I point the phone at him and take a couple of photos. There we go. I hope that'll do. He hops over and takes his phone back, carefully examining the photos I took. Generous angle, strong composition. Yes. The height from where these photos were taken from are perfect. Yes, these are amazing. Thank you so much. You should be a photographer, Mr. Gardner photographer. I'll definitely be using these for my magazine catalog. Oh, you have a magazine catalog? Yep, that's right. Well, actually it's my dad's, but I've been helping him run it for the past year now. It's got nature, city architecture, landscapes, you name it. Gotta make the big bucks somehow. Here, take one of my business cards. He rummages through one of his hoodie pockets and fishes out a sleek, white-looking cardstock. He hands it over to me and I take a quick glance at it before pocketing away. David Lyrics, No-Tell Magazines. Wait, No-Tell Magazines? Don't tell me your dad's No-Tell Lyrics. The one and only. He pokes out his chest as he says that. You know, I was supposed to be supervising some setup at the convention hall, but I got bored. I'm not that interested in all this technology stuff, so I decided to come by and take some photos. What are the chances that I'd bump into someone like him out of all places? Speaking of which, though, I should probably get back to the convention hall. They don't know that I'm gone. Bye for now. Oh, that's right. I didn't get your name, Mr. Gardner photographer. It's Theodore. Well, thanks again for your wisdom and help, Theodore. Come by my dad's keynote later this week if you're still around and show them that business card. They'll know what to do. Bye now. Wait, what will they do? Well, looks like I got something to look forward to later this week. I can't really say that I expected that, but I guess I technically met a celebrity. What an interesting little guy. I spend the next short while wandering around some of the other parts of the garden that I missed. My eyes have only been glazing over the plants and flowers at this point. I'm starting to feel like I don't really belong here. I mean, sure. I'm here because I won the competition, but maybe someone else should have won instead of me. Someone more passionate than me. I keep telling myself that I'm interested in this stuff, but there isn't anything I'm crazy for. I feel like I'm more of an observer, if even that. My mind thinks back to the reindeer that I just met. Kind of ironic that he's so disinterested in technology, yet he's having such a great time. Meanwhile, I'm not even sure if my level of interest is enough to validate me being here. I'm definitely overthinking this. I make my way out of the gardens and back into the lobby. I was getting used to the warm and humid air that I started to feel slightly drowsy. Thankfully, the cool lobby air wakes me up and makes me feel more alert. I need to go back to the garden later. It's really peaceful there. Glancing over at my phone, I notice that there's still time before the presentation. Maybe I could check out the restaurant next. I study the brochure again and find the restaurant section. The Escapade. The picture showcases a pianist and cellist playing in the corner with a bright linear row of pendant lights hanging from the ceiling. Fancy. It also looks like there's a large aquarium in the background too. That's pretty neat. I finished reading the blurb underneath the image and learned that it's located on the 65th floor of the main hotel building. I'm not really that hungry right now, and even if I was, that place would be the last choice for food. I don't mind checking it out and taking some pictures to show later though. I make quick work getting over to the elevators and make my way up. The elevator ride goes a lot smoother than I thought, as there weren't any stops along the way. Arriving at the 65th floor, I'm immediately greeted by the sound of the piano playing softly in the background. Not sure what or where it's playing from, but it sounds pleasant. This whole floor appears to be just a restaurant, as the layout is completely different. The floor hallways that were present earlier on my floor don't exist here, and instead it's a long, narrow hallway from the elevators leading to the entrance area for the restaurant. I walk past the elevators towards the entranceway. The hallway opens up into a small area by the entrance lobby of the restaurant. The music gets louder as I approach the entrance, and that's when I decide to look around to see where it's coming from. My ears flick somewhat, and I stare at the ceiling right above my head. There's a tiny metallic object, probably no bigger than my claw, that looks like a speaker. But on closer inspection, it looks more like a camera than a speaker. Huh, that's weird. What's a camera doing playing music? Trying not to think too much of it, my attention shifts over to the front of the restaurant. I peer through the large glass doors of the entrance. It's dark inside and the lights clearly aren't on. It appears that they are closed right now. I don't see their hours of operations posted anywhere around the entrance, but I remember that they might function differently since it's part of the hotel. They might have special hours for dinner when they open up. I walk closer to the large glass doors that separate the foyer from the restaurant, attempting to get a better look inside. It looks exactly like it does in the pamphlet. Large pendant lights on the ceiling that hang over the sleek, dark tables inside. Staring at it a bit harder, I can see the same floor-to-ceiling windows that are present in my room at the back of the restaurant. Well, I don't know what I was expecting, but I guess there's not much to see if the restaurant is closed. The only thing missing from the view is a large aquarium that had been shown on the brochure. Must be further into the restaurant, as most of the view is obscured by a large divider right behind the receptionist stand. Obviously, I don't have any intention of dining here, but there's a small part of me that wishes that I could go inside and see the aquarium and take a couple of pictures while I was at it. I really like fish. Besides that, though, there isn't much to see. I take out my phone and snap a couple of quick photos of the escapade through the glass doors. Then I start making my way back to the elevator, content with what I discovered. "Excuse me, sir." Their tone sounds inquisitory, and I'm not really sure where their accent's from. I turn around to see a Great Dane in a dapper-looking suit poke out of the restaurant doors. "Pardon me, is there something that I may assist you with? I saw you through the doors just now." "Reservations are mainly done online, but I can make reservations for you in person." "The restaurant opens shortly for lunch. Could I interest you in that?" I give a small wave with my right paw and an awkward smile as I try to think of a response. "Hi. No, not a reservation. I was rather curious about the restaurant and wanted to check it out." The staff nods at me for a couple of seconds, as if he's still processing what I've just said to him. He makes eye contact with me and opens his mouth for a second, about to say something until he clears his throat. "Very well." He steps out of the restaurant and walks into the elevator lobby and turns to look at me. "Here at the Escapade, we only offer the highest level of fine dining. We currently offer a nightlife-themed experience this week at the restaurant. Experiences at the Escapade are elevated like no other." The dog wrings his paws and gives me a smile with his eyes beaming in my direction. I know I said I was curious, but I wasn't expecting a whole speech. I nod back, handling the situation as best as I can without it being awkward for myself. I'm not interested, and I think this is the good time to leave now. I don't know how to get out of the conversation, so I think of something off the top of my head. "That's interesting. Thanks for letting me know. I'll see how it goes later for me." "Certainly. Please come again, and have a wonderful day ahead." He slightly bows at me and walks back into the now partially lit restaurant. I guess they're getting ready to open up now. I certainly wasn't expecting that, but it was a pleasant surprise. As much as the high-class things and lifestyle irks me, I can't deny that I really like the restaurant's atmosphere. I turn around and swiftly make my way back to the elevators for the second time, making sure no one tries to talk to me again. I pull out my phone and check the time. Perfect, the convention starts in 30 minutes. That should give me enough time to comfortably make my way over and start lining up. I pull out the convention pass from my wallet and examine it, making sure that I have the start time correct. I'm expecting there to be a massive line for everything. Thankfully, with this pass, I am able to skip a good portion of the entrance verification step, along with most of the lines. I take out my phone and double-check the charge on it. 37%. Not bad, I suppose, but it's still draining like crazy. I probably need to head back to my room to charge it again after the panel. According to what I read online, the Grand Moraine has 2 identical auxiliary buildings that connect with the main building on the north and the west side. The main building connects to the convention center through the sky bridge on the east, and that's the way that I need to go. Alright then, everything's set. I start heading the opposite way from the elevators to the east side of the lobby. Walking past the reception area, I eventually find a path that leads to a different section of the hotel. There are some signs in the distance that point me in the direction of the convention. I guess this is what happens when the main building connects to basically everything around the vicinity. Even though I had already double-checked earlier, I take out my phone to check the schedule once more. Opening for Sonusix's Future of Sound Technology. This is the panel that I want to check out the most for today, and luckily for me, they're presenting first. There's other opening panels, but they don't interest me as much as the company does. Which means that I should really pick up the pace. Suddenly I see a door burst open down the hall. I'm relatively startled but continue on walking. That's strange, I thought someone would have come out by now. As I approach closer to the door, I catch a glimpse of a large black paw, quickly grab the door and shut it firmly. I didn't get a good look at the rest of their body, but their arms are rather broad, almost bear-like. I stare at the now shut door, not really sure what to make of all of this, when a sharp snapping sound rings from the other side. Huh. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I don't really have time to find out. I quickly scamper down the hallway, trying not to overthink things. Eventually I end up reaching a short flight of stairs that lead to the sky bridge. This must be the same one that I saw when I was outside. I glance outside and shake my head in disappointment when I realize the rain hasn't let up at all. Good thing that I'm not planning on going out anytime soon. All the action's indoor anyway. Without realizing it, I find myself at the end of the sky bridge with a set of elevators lining the walls. There is a sign in front that reads Convention, 3rd floor. I'm about to call for one of the elevators, but one of the doors creaks open. A pride of Panthers exits the elevator. They're wearing normal street attire, t-shirts and jeans, but they all have high-vis vests on. 2 pairs of Panthers standing on either side push a cart that looked rather heavy, with large metal cylinders on top. The last feline comes out of the elevator, and to my surprise, they're not a panther, but a slender-looking white tiger. We both notice each other's presence at the same time. Looks like a bunch of workers trying to transport something, but something's off. Hey. Sorry, there's no service on the elevators right now. We need the elevators to move equipment around for construction. The group looks amongst themselves before returning their gaze on me. Oh, okay. Do you know how long the construction's going to last? The tiger snarls and points in a general direction behind me. No. You can go up the convention room through the staircase there, though. Oh, alright then, thanks. Well, that was strange. And rude. Curious what kind of construction that they could be doing, though. I awkwardly thank the group with a small wave and make my way to the staircase as the rest of them stare at me. I quickly march up the 2 flights of stairs to the 3rd floor, taking as large strides as I can. Oh, wow. The entire lobby looks a lot more open than I thought. Reminds me of when I landed at the airport. If the convention center lobby is this spacious, I can't wait to check out the rest of the building. In the middle of the lobby is a large sculpture that reads TAI. The sculpture radiates a bright white from the sides facing me, and it seems like it's made of metal. This is a nice touch. There's already so many people lined up to the convention to start. I'm starting to appreciate this pass more and more now. I guess everyone here wants to know the latest and biggest tech for one reason or another, because the people here look really diverse. Tech-savvy people, business folks, journalists, entrepreneurs, then there's normal people like me. I spot at least 6 doors around me, and a couple more down the lobby as well as a sign in front of the TAI sculpture. Convention Hall A here. Convention Hall B there. Convention Hall C over there. There are 3 convention halls? I thought the lobby was the main convention hub with the doors leading to the panels. Apparently, there's 2 other halls just like this. That's quite impressive, actually. I can check those other halls out later when I have time. Right now, I still need to figure where to go. There's suddenly a large swarm of people that enter the hall. Naturally, I stand on the side of the wall, making sure not to impede others by walking by. I checked the scheduling earlier, but I forgot to check which hall Sonusix is presenting their keynote opening in. I think that it would be best to verify on my phone. It takes me less than 30 seconds to confirm since I already had it open on my browser. Looks like it's in Hall A, which is perfect since I don't really need to go anywhere. All that's left is to figure out where I need to line up. I slowly follow the crowd of people walking by me and check each door. Oh, there it is. Directly across from me is a sign up next to a door that reads Opening of Sonusix. Unfortunately, I see a growing line on the other side of the door that just keeps getting longer and longer by the second. Thankfully, there's a separate line for people with pass that's only 1/10 as long. I make my way over and line up at the shorter queue. Maybe I should come here earlier next time so that I can get some decent seats, since there's no reserved seating. But it isn't as bad as the lines of the amusement parks that snake relentlessly. There's already 5 more people lining up behind me before I even realize it. Just as I'm about to bring out my phone to snap some pictures of the lobby, I feel a gentle tap from the side of my shoulder. Fancy seeing you here. Still have your wallet? I look over my shoulder to see Rao standing right over the line dividers. He's looking at me with the same smile as before. I didn't expect to see Rao here at all, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Hey Rao, I didn't know you'd be here. Rao's face looks as surprised as I am before he shrugs at me. Was looking for someone that might be here, but it seems like they're not after all. Rao looks at me and then at the long line I'm currently in. What are you lining up for? Me? Just lining up for Sonusix's opening presentation. I look down at my phone and read the time, then back at him. They'll be starting soon. I can see his face looking somewhat confused. Some kind of presentation? Yes, it is. Are you here for the tech convention? He takes a quick glance around the lobby and then back at me. No, not really. Ah, that's right. You said that you were interested in Cyprus earlier? Correct. Oh, I see. Then you know about this convention, right? Rao slowly nods his head. Just enough. I read about it on the news at some point. Not here to attend the convention, but wish that I could, maybe. The gadgets and stuff look cool. Wait, isn't my convention pass good for 3? It's not like I'm going with anyone anymore either. The least that I could do is ask him if he's interested in joining me. Especially for returning my wallet. Anyway. The large wolf looks down at his phone and then back at me with a grin. Gonna get going now. Was nice bumping into you again though. He gives me a small grin and starts to walk off, but I stop him just in time. Hey, before you go, I wanted to ask you if you were interested in joining me for this opening panel. I pull out the convention pass from my pocket and flash it in front of him. Rao's face looks surprised for a split second. I didn't expect that from him. He quickly changes back to the same neutral expression that he'd been doing though. Tempting, but no. I'm going to be busy in about an hour. And what the hell are you waving? Your lucky lottery ticket? No, that's perfect then. The website scheduling says that the presentation's only 40 minutes. And as for the tickets? I wave the convention pass in my palm. Lucky for you, this is a pass. Rao crosses his arms and crocks a brow. He gives me a smirk which turns to a toothy smile. Oh, that's convenient. You saying you're able to get me in or something? That's exactly it. You don't have to join me, but hey. I stumble over my words. You helped me find my wallet. This is the least that I could do. Besides, the ticket that I have doesn't cost me anything for you to come with me. Only if you have the time, though. Rao takes a look at my pass and looks like he's about to say something, but then sighs. Not sure if I can. I'm still trying to look for someone. That reminds me, 1 second. He takes out his phone and stares at his screen, his eyes squinting at first and then widening. He pokes at the tiny phone in his paw for a second before shaking his head. There's a look of disappointment, but it changes quickly back to a small grin and he looks right back at me. He mumbles something to himself, which I'm barely able to make out. I guess this could work. Well, good news. Looks like I can join you. I'll take you up on that offer since you're so persistent on it. He puts his phone away in his pocket and looks somewhere behind me. That's when I realize that Rao's looking at the lineup instead. I look back and see that the line at this point has basically doubled in size. The regular line beside me is stretching so far that I can't even tell where it ends anymore. Really? That's great then. I decide not to ask him about what he read or why the sudden change of mind, assuming that he'd tell me anyway if he wanted to share. I try gesturing to him with a paw, pointing to myself and then the back of the line. We can wait at the back of the line. The wolf suddenly grabs the line dividers with his large paw and cuts right in front of me. There. He gives me a mischievous grin and raises his brow like he'd been caught. For a moment, I'm not too sure what to do. I look around to see if anyone noticed, and luckily, no one has. Or if they have, they didn't really seem to care. Finally, I find the right words and whisper to him. I think we should go to the back of the line. We can't have you cutting. Rao looks at me with a playful smirk and shrugs. He looks towards the back of the line and then back at me. What? Just doing what everyone else is doing. He points to a couple of people not too far from us with his large paw, and it's clear that they're cutting into the line too. I guess you have a point, but still... Don't worry about it. Why don't you tell me more about what we're lining up for anyway? Oh, sure. So, have you heard of the company Sonusix? No. Oh, well, do you know how ultrasound works? Not exactly, so feel free to explain it to me. So there's this device called a transducer that emits sound waves into your body. It gets reflected and collected and then the image is produced on the computer. Right, so it produces an image with sound. Is that what Sonusix develops? Yeah, they do a lot of stuff with ultrasound, but recently they've hinted at a big breakthrough. Seems like they might be doing more than just sound stuff for now. Okay, so what about it? What do you mean? Well, you said what Sonusix is, but what exactly is the panel about? Oh, right. They're showing off one of their latest products. It's supposed to be a grand reveal. I'm surprised the details weren't leaked. Is that it? What about the company history? I'm not sure. I admit that I don't know much about them. I just skimmed through their wiki article the other day. Rao's the first one to notice the line moving as he motions his head towards it. Looks like we're done waiting. The line's moving. I almost lose sight of where he is by the time that he finishes his sentence. How the hell did he move so fast? Hey, wait up! I need to show them the pass! We walk inside the auditorium. The room itself is pretty dark, but thankfully, there's white LED stripes on the ground that light the path ahead of us. With Rao leading the way, I try my best to keep up with his long strides in the near darkness. It's hard to walk around like this, especially with this large figure blocking out most of the light that might be in front of us. We turn a corner at the end of the hallway and are greeted with the main stage and several still vacant seats. Rao stops walking and turns around to look at me, as if he's expecting me to say something to him, but he starts talking first. Oh, hey, that looks promising. He points to some machinery on the stage that resembles something like a large laser gun, for lack of better words. Actually, why is that there? I'm not sure, but we do need to figure out where to sit. Did you have a preference on that? At the top or the bottom of the auditorium? Rao raises his eyebrows at the question. Top, of course, but what about you? I personally don't mind, though. Well... Sure, Tom. Actually, sure. I wouldn't mind sitting at the back for this. It'd be nice to have a wider view of what this laser can do anyway. Rao chuckles and grins at me. Perfect. I love being at the back. Great place to catch some Z's. Rao's already marching his way up the flight of stairs to the back. His large stature forcing him to take 3 to 4 steps per stride. I'm not as fast as him and struggle to try and keep pace. Thankfully, the stairs are also lined with LED stripes that light up the path. Without them, I'd probably trip with how fast we're going. We make our way to the top of the stairs. Rao stops at the top and eyes the seats at the very last aisle. Over here. Looks good. Rao casually points to the middle of the vacant row and begins shifting his way through the seats. It's kind of funny seeing him shimmy his way down the row, his short, bushy tail whipping side to side relentlessly. I can see why no one's sitting back there, though. Despite being able to see the entire stage, the audio projected from the speakers ends up being a bit muffled back here. Luckily, there's a wide screen near the ceiling that's streaming the action as well. I feel like someone could easily miss the screen if they were sitting in the front. Rao sits down in the middle of the row and I follow suit by sitting beside him. I get comfortable in my seat. It's well cushioned and I can feel my entire body sink into the padding. The excitement from earlier definitely is wearing off and I can feel myself getting tired. I contemplate shutting my eyes for a few minutes as the auditorium fills up. I thought I was tired. You good? Oh. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a bit tired. I give a weak smile back to Rao, who's now looking over at me. I didn't even realize I had dozed off there. Sitting back there seemed pretty cozy. The sounds are pretty muffled, it's dark, and the seats are so comfy. Rao gives me a look. Well, if you're going to take a nap, maybe I should too. I didn't get much sleep last night. I had to deal with a bunch of shit. Oh, I mean, I wasn't gonna take... You can take a nap if you want. I'm just kidding. Besides, I'm interested in seeing what the hell that laser does. Being somewhat flustered, I readjust myself in my seat, making sure that I am not too comfortable to doze off again. I spend the next short while taking pictures and looking around the auditorium, watching it fill up. We wait for what seems like a couple of minutes before the lights start to dim even further. My attention goes to the screen above for a better view. A hare dressed in a rather snazzy-looking sweater comes onto the stage with a mic in his paw. If I had to guess, he's going to be our MC. Welcome to Sonusix's opening keynote. I hope that you're excited for what we have in store for you today. The speaker starts introducing themselves and the company. Seems like a standard protocol. They haven't addressed the large laser-like looking thing on stage yet, though. A bunch of other employees come out on stage and start introducing themselves as well. They turn to the laser and start explaining its functionality. So, I'm sure most of you are wondering what this machine behind us is. This laser, in fact, is our latest innovation. It uses light and sound to see objects in walls. The employees help swerve the laser and aim it at the back of the stage where the curtains are. The hare presses some kind of button in his paw and the machine begins to emit a low rumble, similar to the sound of an idling car. A faint glow silhouette begins to form around the curtains. I realize that they are the other staff members in the back. They're being illuminated, even if only slightly. I can see some of the silhouettes move around and wave towards us. The curtains open and the group of people reveals themselves, waving towards us. At the same time, the faint glow fades. There's a short gasp in the audience, followed by some cheering and clapping. It seems like everyone's pretty impressed with the demonstration, including myself. I don't think that I've seen anything like this before. Naturally, I start clapping along with the audience. Curious to see how Rao's doing, I quickly glance over to my side. For some reason, I thought that he would have fallen asleep, but he's leaning forward on his seat, staring at the screen. While he isn't applauding, his body language suggests that he's at least somewhat interested. The speaker talks about the laser for a short while before switching gears to discuss their statistics and earnings for the last quarter. The topics change a couple of times about things that would interest only stockholders and researchers. There's a small applause and it appears that they're taking a small break now. I look over at Rao, who is watching attentively the entire time. How is it so far? What do you think? It takes him a bit, but he finally acknowledges my question after a slight delay. Hey. He gives me a small smile before he scratches his head. This stuff is interesting. I wasn't really interested in the shareholder and business reporting crap, but the demonstration was the highlight for me. Although... Did you notice anything funny when they turned on the laser? 'Cause I did. Nothing immediately comes to mind as I think back to what we just saw. No, not really. What did you notice? I've been thinking. You saw that faint glow too, right? Something about it bothers me. What's up? I couldn't see the glow on my phone. What? The glow doesn't display on the screen, even if I was taking the photo. I ended up taking a bunch of scuffed photos because of how distracted I was. Really? That's strange. Could it be your phone not getting enough light, especially back here? Rao furrows his brow and his face looks as puzzled as he sounds. He looks at the stage, then back to me. I can see fine from here, so I doubt my phone would struggle. Ah, okay. Because I was able to see the glow through the screen at the top of the stage. Shit, didn't check that. Was too busy looking at my phone. He mumbles something incoherent underneath his breath. Suddenly he nudges his head towards the stage and he leans back into his chair. Break time's over. Looking back at the stage, I can see the hair along with some other staff members walking back up. The keynote continues and they resume the presentation, discussing future products and things to look forward to. The segment seems pretty dry, most of the details just fly over my head. And that concludes the keynote. We have several other panels lined up for this week, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you everyone once again. We hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference. The lights slowly turn back on, but it's still too dim to make things out around me. Rao gets up off his seat first and stretches his back with a loud yawn. From where I'm seated, he's practically towering over me. Honestly, for someone who's never heard about this company, it was pretty decent. Good to hear. I think I'm going to do some more research when I get home. I follow his lead and get up to stretch my back. I hear something clatter onto the floor, and as I pull myself up from my seat, Rao and I stop moving. At first, I'm not sure what the noise is, but after checking my pockets, it's my phone. Rao and I exchange glances. Your phone. Crap. Could you help me find it? We both look to the ground, searching for my hopefully not cracked phone. Even though the lights have turned back on, the back section here is still dim. I don't even know where to begin looking. Luckily, in less than a couple of seconds, Rao points to a spot in front of me. I think I found it. Here. He squats down with his paws on the ground, taking a closer look through the gaps made by the seats in front. Too tight. Rao motions his arm towards the gap and shakes his head. He gets up to his feet and turns the flashlight on his phone. I don't think my arm can fit through the gap. Think you could get on your knees? Do you think that I could go the other side and get it that way? He leans over the row of seats in front of us and examines the ground, and looks back at me. You're gonna have a bad time. It's closer to us here than it is there. I guess I don't have much of a choice then. I force a chuckle out as I kneel down for a better view. The view doesn't improve as I get on all fours, trying my best to peek through the gap between the chairs. Could you use your phone to help me shine a light through the gap? Let me see what I can do. He aims a light through the small opening in front of me. At the same time, I try to lower my body even more, attempting to feel the ground for my phone. Good. Carefully, I pull my arms back out of the gap and turn to face him. Actually, could you give me your phone for a second? Maybe I can get a better angle if I had the light on my other paw. It's kinda difficult to turn my head in this position, but I can hear his footsteps stop beside me. Here. I could suddenly feel the sensation of cold metal against my right paw. Thanks, I think I almost got it. The position that I'm in is starting to feel more and more tense, and I readjust myself. This time I'm practically laying on the floor. While the light is helping out, there is still a blind spot created by the decline of the flooring. I don't see or feel my phone at all. The thought of asking someone in front for help did cross my mind, but at this point I'm too invested. Just as I'm about to get up and try my luck from the other side, Rao's voice interrupts me. Left. More to the left. Are you sure? I can barely see anything. Positive. I do as he says, and after practically whipping the floor clean with my paw, I could feel something smooth and cold. There. Oh, thank God, my shoulder was starting to cramp. With my paw now on top of my phone, I managed to grab onto it. Despite the awkward angle, I am able to slowly back out my arm. Need help getting up? I think I should be okay. I shift my weight around the ground, trying to give myself enough room to get up. That was pretty annoying. I hope my... I'm just about to get up when I turn to see Rao towering over me. There's just enough light now for me to make out what I'm looking at. I'm staring right at Rao's bulge. I'm not sure if it's the lighting or the angle, but from where he's standing, his bulge is extremely pronounced. Definitely see some kind of definition around his crotch, with the bulge especially pronounced near his right thigh. Oh god. I immediately look back down, feeling utterly flustered. I'm 10,000% sure that he'd be able to tell how red my face is right now. Hey, you good? You didn't pull a muscle or anything, right? I didn't know that he would be that close to me. Was he standing that close to me all this time? There's a hint of concern in his voice. I would be concerned too if I saw someone snap their head back down to the ground and tense up. Sorry. I forgot what I was going to say. I slowly get back on my knees before recovering my balance to stand back up, making sure not to make eye contact with Rao as I get up. Hey, everything alright? Oh, no, I'm fine. With my face still warm, I try to act as casual as possible as I pat the dust off my body. I definitely didn't have to face 2 feet away from another man's crotch. Nope, not me. Rao tilts his head and studies me for a second before giving me a slow nod. How's the phone? I had completely forgotten about my phone. Naturally, I bring my phone out to inspect it as Rao diligently stares. I inspect my phone all around in my paw, making sure that there's no cracks on the screen. Everything seems to be fine. I don't feel any new scratches either. Perfect. Let's dip. The wolf makes his way through the seats and back onto the stairs, where he descends down several steps at a time. Much like earlier, I am barely able to catch up to him. He slows down halfway down the stairs when he realizes that I'm still a dozen steps behind him. I catch up and we continue walking down, not really saying much of anything. Just as I'm about to make small talk with him, the wolf suddenly speeds up, forcing me to catch up to him. Maybe this isn't the best time for conversation. We're close enough to the stage now that I am able to get a closer view of the laser. It's a lot more impressive up close. The screen I had been watching from didn't do it justice. Maybe I should. Ouch. There's a dull pain at the tip of my snout on the other side of my cheek. I think I'm okay. Rao turns around and down at me with a puzzled look. Oh, it's you. Careful, it's still dark. His back is as hard as a rock. I honestly felt like I walked right into a wall. It might as well have been one if it wasn't for his jacket and fur. I rub the tip of my snout as I give Rao a half-convincing smile, wincing through the slowly fading pain. My bad. I wasn't looking where I was going. It's my fault. I was distracted by the things on stage. That was pretty naive of me. Thankfully, it was me getting hurt instead of someone else. Rao stares at my nose. If you say so. There was a pause in his voice. Why don't you lead the way? Oh, sure thing. I walk in front and we make our way out of the auditorium. Even though I'm going as fast as I can, my tail brushes up against his leg occasionally. The walk out proves to be more difficult than expected. With this many people, it's going to be hard to navigate around. Hey, you know what? That was pretty interesting. Thanks. Oh, no problem. It's the least that I could do, really. He returns back a small nod and proceeds to pull out his phone. Well, anyway, I should get going. You're here for the convention, right? Maybe I'll see you around. Yeah, here for the whole week. I chuckle, not really sure what else to say. Sounds like he's going to be here too. I wonder if he lives around here or something. A part of me really wants to know, but I refrain myself from being too nosy. Well, okay then. Yeah, I'll see you around. Take care. And just like that, he's gone. Not sure where, but that's none of my business. All in all, I think that was fun, despite the particular homosexual interaction. It's not every day that this gets to happen to me anyway. Man, my legs are killing me. I've been trotting around the convention area for the past hour now. The first half was pretty exciting, actually, seeing all the booths and whatnot, especially the ones with live demonstrations. Then at some point, after I realized that I had made a full lap around the hall, I've just been walking around aimlessly since. I need to sit down. I scout the area for a place to sit and manage to spot a couple of vacant benches over in the distance. My legs. I quickly check my phone for the time and realize that the battery had drained substantially since the keynote. Damn, 13%, huh? I should be okay if I refrain from using it for the next little bit. I don't like the idea of going back to my room just to charge it. It feels like a waste of time. I decide to get up after a couple of minutes of rest. There aren't any more booths to explore here, plus the more interesting presentations happen tomorrow. What to do? Suddenly I remember the brochure that I had stuffed away in my pockets. Maybe I could check out something that was listed in there, someplace that I haven't been yet. I study the brochure, letting my eyes bounce between the images until a picture of the coolly lit casino catches my eye. This looks interesting. I've always wanted to check out the casino. Not that I would gamble or anything, but the allure of what is essentially an arcade for adults always fascinated me. Okay then, I've made up my mind. Off to the casino I go. The trek to the casino takes longer than expected. I didn't expect the convention lobby to be that packed. Though it's pretty straightforward to get there, there's even a dedicated button in the elevator to go right to the casino. I make my way to the 66th floor and quickly notice that the floor's layout is completely different. It's a lot more open. I start walking around and approach what looks like an entrance with velvet ropes, but I am quickly stopped by security. Welcome. If you want to get in, I'm going to need to scan your keycard. The security officer's voice comes off stern, and I give him a nervous smile as I take out my keycard. I get a good look at him, and he's a large polar bear, probably in his late 50s. He's almost the same height as Rao, but maybe a bit shorter. I can't help but notice a shiny name tag tacked on his uniform, with the name Christopher printed on it. Being covered in black from head to toe, his uniform looks even sturdier and more impressive than the security that I saw at the airport. I guess they take things very seriously here. It's intimidating, but I try my best to remain calm. Right, sure thing. I hand over my keycard and it runs it through a scanner in his paws. There's an indicator light that turns green on the scanner. You're good. Have fun, kid. The security guard gives me back my keycard and I continue making my way into the casino. I swear I can feel his eyes on the back of my head, but I don't turn around to check. I pick up the pace trying to get as far into the casino as I possibly can. Even though this is the first casino that I've ever been to, I think it's quite impressive. And loud. Really loud. Most of the noise is coming from the slot machines. There's rows and rows of them being played in the section of the casino. I navigate away to a different part of the casino, hoping that it'll be more quiet. That ends in failure as I stumble upon a section with tables playing roulettes and poker. There's at least 5 games going on in tandem, and the clicking coming from the roulette drowns out most of the other noises around. It's quite a sight to take in, but maybe going to the casino isn't such a good idea. There doesn't seem to be anything that catches my eye yet besides the decor. I take a quick look around, checking for anything cool until I spot a familiar figure by a poker table. Is that Rao? Walking a bit closer, there's no mistaking the broad figure from behind. It looks like he's in the middle of a game. Raise 500. Call. The voice rings over the other side of the table. It belongs to a shoddy-looking leopard, sitting hunched over, his eyes glaring at Rao. Raise 250. I'm not exactly sure how poker works, but I know enough to tell that Rao has some momentum. All in. The leopard's demeanor looks a lot more agitated and aggressive now. I don't think that they know what a poker face is. All in, bud. Several glances are exchanged between the players, and most of them look disheartened. One by one, the other players around the table throw their cards out. All except the leopard. The dealer deals out some cards and is immediately clear who won just by looking at the leopard's face. Better luck next time. The leopard slams his paws on the table and gives Rao another long, threatening glare before storming out of the casino. Well then. There's an awkward tension at the table with the rest of the players looking too stunned to speak. Rao suddenly turns to face me, catching me off guard. So, fancy seeing you here. I didn't know you played poker. Did he know that I was watching him this whole time? No, I don't. I was going to say the same. I could teach you. That's okay. I'll have to pass up the offer. It looks pretty complicated. If you say so. You know, it's quite surprising seeing you here. I thought you said you would be busy an hour before. I did. Don't worry about it. The wolf talks with the dealers at the table before getting up and making his way over. So, what was up with that guy? The leopard. I beat their ass 3 rounds in a row. Poor guy didn't know when to quit. Ouch, so they lost all their money? Who knows, though that's just how it goes. That guy looked a bit sketchy though. Are you worried that he'll do something malicious? No. Not really. People like him don't scare me. Sure must be nice to be large and confident like him. I suppose so. I look at the pile of chips on Rao's side of the table. It's a lot of money. Gambling looks scary, but Rao makes it look easy and approachable. Rao notices me staring. It's not worth anything until I cash it in. Yeah, it's just, wow, that's a lot of money. You must be really good at poker. Or maybe I'm just lucky. He chuckles at me and I chuckle back, not wanting to seem awkward. Well, it was nice seeing you again. I'm gonna go back to playing, maybe win a few more games. Don't gamble too hard out there. You too. He gives me a reassuring nod and sits back at the table. I want to tell Rao that I'm not planning on gambling, but he's already playing another round. Maybe I should. I'm already here anyway. Maybe not poker. I don't know the rules too well. Something easier? As I am walking past some more slot machines, I notice a nice open section with a couple of sofas placed around a large table of refreshments. My legs used to be more resilient from all the squats that I'd done from gardening, but now an hour's walk is enough to tire me out. I guess I'll sit for a second, then try my luck at one of the slot machines or something. Much better. I think I'll try out some of the refreshments too. Mints, not my favorite, but they're nice enough. Naturally, I take out my phone to check out any notifications while I snack about. Oh no. Crap, my phone's almost dead. I knew I should have gone back to charge it. Alright, I need to head back to my room sooner than I'd like. I spend the next little bit resting my legs, then get up. That's when I notice something strange off in the distance. There is a man, probably no more than 20 feet away, twitching and mumbling to themselves. They look incoherent and out of place. I glance around, checking if anyone else sees what I'm seeing, but it's just me in the lounge. Maybe I should leave before things get weird? The man suddenly notices me and makes his way over, his eyes locked onto mine. Crap. He's a lot shorter now that I'm standing up, practically half my height. Well, this is extremely awkward. Is this guy homeless? No, he can't be. He needs some form of ID to get in here. The cat's single bloodshot eye makes me uneasy and on edge. Can I help you? Maybe I should ask him something else? No? Leave? On second thought, maybe I should just walk away. Money. Do you have any money? Please, Give? I think I have some spare change in my wallet. It wouldn't hurt to give it to him if he leaves me alone. Okay. I slowly take out my wallet while keeping eye contact with the stranger. It wouldn't hurt to give him one of the $5 bills I have, right? Here, take this. He takes the bill out of my paw shakily. More. I don't have any more to give. More. I really don't have any... More. You had more money. I saw it. Oh god. What the fuck do I do? In a split second, he lunges towards my legs, but I'm just fast enough to evade to the side. He misses my legs and ends up plowing right into the sofa that I was just seated in. Ah! There's a long and painful sounding groan coming from the cat. My body suddenly freezes in place as my mind tries to fully comprehend the situation. My eyes dart around the room, searching for exits nearby that I can quickly escape to. I'll get you, liar! I look back to the man who looks like he's ready to pounce at me again. Where the hell is security? And what the hell is wrong with this guy? Ah! My adrenaline kicks in. I need to get the hell out of here. I turn around and just start running as fast as I can. Something sharp grabs onto my tail and the resistance causes me to fall face first towards the ground. Ah, crap! My tail! My knee! I manage to flip myself around and am greeted with a demented-looking cat. There are several sharp pricks along my tail, and I can tell that the cat's setting his claws in. With one of his paws yanking at my tail, the cat tries to claw at my face with the other, but I'm able to block it off with my knee. I kick the cat with my free leg, but he doesn't budge. You're a liar! Now you'll pay! The cat lets go of my tail, freeing my other leg, and attempts to pounce on top of me. Panicking, I quickly pull both of my knees to my chest as I realize that I have both legs free now. Get off of me! My feet connect with the cat's chest and shoulder, kicking him back as hard as I can. It takes me a second for my brain to process what just happened. I kicked him and... Looking forward, I see the cat covered in refreshments laying motionless on the top of the table. I sent the guy flying at least a good few feet away. I'm pretty sure that I heard bones break too. Oh fuck, is he breathing? To be continued. That was long. Hey there, this is the lead developer, RadCanine. Thank you for playing Raincheck. We hope you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed creating it. This is our first official build, and we're grateful for your support and patience as we continue to refine and craft out the story. It took a while to get the ball rolling, but we're happy to finally have it out. If you're interested in getting early 2-week access to the latest builds and behind-the-scenes developments, or just want to support the team, then you can check out our completely optional Patreon. Currently, our Patreon build includes an extra scene with more words following the events of the attack at the casino. I won't bore you with the details, but there's other benefits of being a Patreon supporter, which you can check out. Finally, if you want to stay up to date on the latest developments and updates, you can make sure to follow us on Twitter at RaincheckVN. Please let us know what you think so far. Any feedback or bug reports would be greatly appreciated. Things are only going to pick up from here. Until next time, Raincheck. So, feedback. I hesitate to give any outright criticism because this is the first build of a very new visual novel. And obviously there's going to be some kinks, some little things that you have to work out before the story can be, can like pick up and, go. So my initial feelings of the story are like this. The main character I kind of find kind of dull, but I think that has to do more with the pacing than with anything else. Because I kind of feel like there might be certain things, like sentences, maybe even a scene or two, or even little parts of scenes where you can just sort of cut it off, so it doesn't sound or doesn't feel like this character's just thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and nothing's happening. I think part of that is, or I'm trying to think of a very good example, because again, I know this is just the first build, so you cannot be very overly critical of it. But there are some sections where it does feel sort of like, is this going to be relevant to the story, or is it just padding? So, yeah. Like, maybe just have somebody read the story and just say, like, oh, yeah, you could just remove the sentence because it's just being repeated again. I think there were 2 sections where he loses the wallet, or 2 sentences, or actually 4 sentences where he loses the wallet, where he says, "Oh, I lost this. I lost my wallet," or something like that. I'm trying to remember where it's exactly, but there is a section where he repeats himself, and that's kind of annoying. The sections with Rao not knowing anything about the character or who he might be based on, but they feel really, really slow or very lacking in conversation. So maybe, I don't know, rewrite those sections. Like, the interaction seemed very forced, sort of like when two people who do not know each other are talking, which I know is exactly what's going on, but very awkward, and like you're forcing them to interact with each other rather than it happening organically. Yeah. As for the plot, I have no idea what it's going to be, or if it's going to develop anytime soon, because for right now, the visual novel is advertised as being a thriller mystery. I'm not getting any of that right now. I mean, sure, Theodore just got attacked by this druggie, I think. But like, right now, at the end, is the first instance where anything of note actually happened. Where like literally anything that comes to mind, like, yes, I know they went to a presentation with a laser or something that can see through walls, and he went around the hotel. But like, if you were to ask me specifically to point out certain sections, I can't really remember them. The only thing I remember is the attack. So I think that's might be my issue, where literally the entirety of the beginning is just sort of there. So yeah, I just go through it with a fine-tooth comb and like pick out little bits and pieces here in order to try to shorten it a little, because it does seem like it just dragged on a little too long. But again, this is just the first build of a very new visual novel, so, you know, it can change. And like, it literally could pick up immediately after this. Just wish that it didn't take around 2 hours to pick up. But yeah, especially because of the genre that it's supposed to be. But anyways, you know, write down in the comments what you think, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Rain Check yourself, you can do so by going down to the description into Rao or Rain Check VN Twitter page, which should have a direct link to it so that you can download it. Or if you would like to support the project, I will post the link down for their Patreon, where you can get early access to builds of Rain Check VN, as well as a little bit more that happens after the little druggie attacks Theodore. So yeah, I technically saw it. I'm not able to record it because obviously it is Patreon content. But yeah, so yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.